It's about that time of day again, folks. Welcome back to Nightly Newsletter, boys and girls. Joseph James here. It's Monday evening, July 27th, 2015. Kicking off the last week of this month of July. Hope you guys had a great summertime weekend. It just slips right through our fingers, doesn't it? Well, hopefully you guys had a great summertime weekend. But boy, oh boy, don't take too much longer, though, because we got some money to make this week here. We got a ton of trading opportunities in tonight's video. Almost everything we talked about last week has now come to fruition. So taking our profit and getting ready for more opportunities. Crude, gold, euro, S&P, shall we? Before we jump into our charts tonight, I do want to remind you guys, first of all, I teach all of this information to all of our students here at schooloftrade.com. Check out schooloftrade.com. We get all the info about our free trial, our 3 levels of membership. I'll talk about that towards the end of the newsletter. Also, please make sure you're watching this video on our trading blog here at sidewaysmarkets.com. In addition to all of the other great videos and resources we have here for day traders, there are 3 reasons why you should be watching this newsletter on our trading blog. 1, you can download all the charts for tonight's video. All the charts you're going to see me using tonight in the video, you can download those right below the video tonight. Second, upper left-hand corner, if you're not a member here of School of Trade and you'd like a free pass to come out in a $10 live trade room as a guest, I'd love to show you around, make you a member for the day, come out and see me this week. And of course, also lower left-hand corner, I have a mailing list for my nightly newsletter. Now you never have to worry about missing another newsletter ever again. I'll shoot you an email every evening before 8 p.m. Eastern Time when it goes live on our blog. All I need is your name and your email address. And guys, if you register for the newsletter list or if you grab your free pass, I'm going to send you a verification email. So make sure you check your email. Find that verification email. Make sure you verify your email address. That way I can make sure I've got the right email address for you. All right, guys, download those charts. Have them ready for yours trading tomorrow. And don't forget, everything we talk about here today, we'll be trading it live in real time tomorrow morning in our live trade room. Come out and see us as a member here at School of Trade. Well, I thought maybe, right, we'd talk about crude oil this evening just to start it off, right? Everybody's talking about we're going back to 2015 lows. First of all, let me just preface this by saying what I'm going to say in the next few moments is absolutely useless for a day trader. There, I said it, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this. This is a daily chart. Even worse, it's a I can't even say it. It's a daily continuation chart. What the heck am I wasting your time with on this? Just to get it out of our systems and say, if you're looking for information, where are we going? 42.85. Now, I could be all prophetic and say it would make a lot of sense that we end up back at 42.85, and you can see, right, move down into a trading range. By the way, that's a range expansion right there, by the way, right? Range expansion up, back in. So it is quite inevitable here, unless something crazy happens. You know, there's always something going on out there in this world of ours. There's a potential that we may not find our way back down here, but last March, this March, we were down around 42.85. It wouldn't be surprising at all if we end up down there as well. That's all fine and dandy, but how do I make money off this? That's the question. Yeah, it's great to impress my friends. I know where we've been. I know where we might go. How do I make money? This is a great example of a chart that day traders have absolutely no use for when it comes to paying their bills. Yeah, you want to impress somebody at happy hour, right? You want to show off your knowledge. Sure, start talking about $43 a barrel and you just might get that. The reality is, though, day traders close up the daily charts. They're a waste of our time. I don't care about value. I don't care about overbought, oversold. I am not trading reality, okay? Let's be very, very clear. We are trading short-term. We are trading short-term ups and downs, right? That's what day traders do. Short-term inefficiencies in the markets, right? We're looking to capitalize on very short-term opportunities. That way I can use leverage, right, in futures, and I can make a great amount of money every day with a little bit of money in my account. So that's the last you're going to hear about it from the daily chart. I might bring it up from time to time here, but again, get rid of the daily charts. They're a waste of our time. They're not going to help me make any money. What am I going to use it for? This is the chart that I need to be looking at. Okay, while the rest of the world is looking at these long-term, where could we go, and look at these big extensions and blah, 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 blah. All I care about right now is where I am in the chart and where my next opportunity is going to be. In this case, crude oil, this is easy pickings. When you're in a market like this, we're seeing the easiest money is going to be get it up off these lows, wait for the buyers to try and fail, and sell into their stop losses. It's the exact opposite plan that we had for the S&P last week. It's the same plan we've had for the gold and pretty much the euro, if I recall correctly. So strong bearish trends. Remember this. New traders, write this down. We're not selling lows. We're waiting for price to get up off this low and then selling it when? At resistance areas, and of course, where buyers try and fail. Now, these levels we're talking about in my newsletter are they're long-term, well, not long-term, they're medium-term levels, which means these are areas of interest. So we're always going to be using intraday time frames, right? Shorter-term time frames, okay? Think of this as an hourly chart. I'm not going to trade off an hourly chart. I'm going to trade off a minute chart, right? I don't really trade off minute charts, but that kind of gives you an idea of the difference there. So we're going to speed this way up, use these areas of resistance to look for short-term buyer failures, et cetera, et cetera. If I'm speaking Greek to you right now, that tells you got to get educated. Come out and see me in the trade room. Become a student of mine. I'll teach you all of this stuff. It's very, very simple. I've got a bearish trend right now on crude. Let's go over the plan. Now, this was actually a tough chart to get all to wrestle down. I mean, this thing just keeps on dropping. And when you get that, remember, it's relatively easy when you get big corrections. When the market keeps on hitting those lows, now what you've got to do is stay patient. You know, you can sell the lows, but the problem is professional traders have been burned so many times selling the lows. We have an allergic reaction to selling at the lows, right? Buying at the highs. If you haven't been doing this very long, then you haven't developed that reaction to it yet. But trust me, a couple stop runs and a couple blown accounts later, and you'll stop selling those lows just like I did 10 years ago. So we have to wait for price to come up off this low. And it can be challenging during times like this. That's why we're going to use a faster time frame on this, get it up off these lows, and keep looking for buyer failure. We had a great example of it today in our live trade room, right? It comes up off that low, 9 o'clock in the morning, wait for those buyers, take the bait, and sell it right back down. So what you're going to see a lot of this right now here is we've got some strong trends out here across the board on all these markets, strong trends. So it's going to be reversal patterns, it's going to be continuation patterns, and it's going to be failure patterns, right? Again, if you're a member here at School of Trade, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's get into the nitty-gritty detail now that we got that pesky daily chart out of the way. Crude oil, bearish trend, and you can see we are right, and this is tough because, I mean, this does not look pretty, and I'll be honest, you're really at this point, for this channel, I'm half guessing. You know, I'm giving it the old college try, right? I'm definitely using my experience to try my best. I can see that the channel high is there. I can see we have the midline lined up pretty nice. Usually the midline gives it away. But geez, take your pick, right? Take your pick. Which of these lows are we going to use for the low of that channel? I don't know. And really, to be honest with you, I really don't care. Because I'm not going to sell at the low of this, right? I'm going to wait for that price to come up off this low, and then buyers try, buyers fail, sell it back down. So the scenario still is the same. When we're in a strong trend, in this case of a bearish trend, we're down around the low of this range. And again, you know, if you're a new trader out here, you may have not been bitten by this bug before. But, you know, again, I get the shakes when I try to sell right at the lows like this. What I'm looking for is I want to see this come up off this low, wait for the buyers to try to continue it higher, and then if and when they fail, right, that's my cue to now sell, sell, sell. It gets me up off the low. It allows me to build in some profit. It allows me to take a smaller risk. And again, if I'm in a bearish trend, I want to sell. And like anything else, I want to sell at the highest price possible. So don't sell at the lows down here. Our goal right now, and this goes for any of these trending markets, I'm trying to think right now. I think they're all bearish here. We'll see in a second. But the reality is get it up off that low, right? Get it up off that low. That's the key right now to where the easiest money is going to be. I'm not going to say that during these real strong trending sessions, right, you can't sell the low and make some money. You can. The problem is, just like sitting at a casino table, the longer you stay there, the more the odds start stacking against you. That's why I tell everybody, go to Vegas, you make some money right away, get out of there, because the longer you stay there, the more you're going to give it back. If you've made money selling these lows, consider yourself to be ahead of the game right now. So you better take some profit off the table, because selling the lows is always a very risky business. So what am I looking for here right now? I'm trying to use a little bit different format here right now for the chart dialogue. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm always looking for new ways to make this easier. I continue to get people asking, are we just blindly selling these? Remember, guys, all of these areas of resistance in this case, I always wait for the proper entry trigger. So let's go over it. We're bearish right now. I mean, I don't like the word oversold, but this is oversold, right? We're down around the lows. We're around this major support level at 47.05. I'm not going to go back in time and show you this big chart. It's just be aware. There's a major support level there. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to buy, right? I mean, you going to buy this? Not on my account, you're not, right? So it really doesn't matter that there's major support there at all. All that matters is we got to get up off this level for us to sell. It doesn't matter if there's support there or lower or anywhere. I got to get up off this low so I can sell it short. I do know, however, though, this is pretty important. I do know, however, though, this trading range, you've got your range expansions 1, you got your range expansions 2. This is last call for buyers here at 46.52 as far as the range expansions go. We go any lower and this all of a sudden is going to be completely broken free of this range and range expansions, which if you're a member of mine, you know that secondary extension is usually very difficult to break and stay below. So we definitely have a little bit of a shelf there at 46.52. The way this market feels right now, with more and more of these oil producing nations coming online right now. Tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m., they're going to be talking about, I believe at Capitol Hill tomorrow, there's a congressional hearing about the exportation of oil pumped out of the ground domestically. Remember, that was a law that was, I believe, rolled back by President Obama. One of the many things he really has done to spur this economy. And for the first time, I think it's 50 years, something like that, you're able to actually export domestically produced crude oil. I can see the rigs going around the backyards already, right? Ever see that show on, what was it, A&E, Backyard Oil, right? What a great, you're going to see it if this thing happens. So tomorrow they're going to be talking about that at Capitol Hill. So you know this stuff's coming. There's more crude oil entering the market. There's no reason to think it won't keep going lower. But again, how do I make money on it? Get it up off these lows, wait for buyers to try and fail, and then sell it back down. So what's my plan for tomorrow? Sellers looking short at resistance levels above. Sellers looking short at resistance levels above. That's a relatively easy one, right? Now remember, when I say short, I'm talking about a continuation after the move. I'm talking about a buyer failure. I'm talking about a reversal pattern. Okay, members, don't forget, failure patterns, reversal patterns, continuation patterns, right? We talk about that in our intermediate course at School of Trade. Sellers looking for short at buyer failure at support levels. Now, this is where it gets pretty aggressive, right? So here we are sitting at major support, 47.05, wait for buyers to try and fail, and that's pretty much the only way you can sell those lows. Buyers, if you do want to be a buyer right now, buyers are looking long with seller failures at support levels in oversold conditions. So oversold conditions will be right now. So if you're a buyer right now, you're looking for sellers to fail and then buy it up off those lows. Problem right now is if you're a buyer, you're trading against the trend. So you know what I always say, if you're trading counter trend, right, wear a helmet. But all joking aside though, if you're going to trade counter trend right now, make sure you treat it as a scalp first, quick first target, tight stop, remove the risk in your first target, and then try to get as much as you can out of it on the way back up. Your best bet right now is to be a seller up at these resistance areas overhead. Wait for the buyers to try and fail. That'll be what we'll be looking for tomorrow in our trade room. Get this thing up off these lows. And again, looking at short-term support areas and resistance areas overhead where buyers are going to fail. The key word right now on crude oil is get up off these lows, look for opportunities to sell into the buyer failures. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, come out and see me tomorrow. I'll teach it all to you guys, and we'll be trading this market, of course, in real time tomorrow in our trade room. So look for those opportunities here, but we got to get up off those lows on crude for the best opportunities. Guys, moving from the black gold to the gold, the yellow metal, this is still the GC 815 contract. We do have a rollover reminder at the end of this week. 731.15. It's going to jump the 10.15 contract, and we're going to go right to the 12.15 contract. I'll talk about that on Thursday night, obviously. Here is another bearish trend that we're looking at here on the gold. This is a very similar situation, I believe, to what we're going to see on the euro here in just a few moments. We have a bearish channel down. This bearish channel down, of course, is being intersected with a bullish channel up. It's perfectly normal for this to happen. We talked about this last week throughout the newsletter, specifically on the I believe it was the euro, where we've rotated, right? So now we're rotating from the low up to the high, from that high down to this low, from this low up to this high. Yep. Very simple idea here. And then, of course, can you guess where we're going to rotate next? Yeah, down to these lows here. And you've got a measured move support area waiting for you down here, right around that 1060 area here on gold. Gold feels very, very heavy right now, but it was definitely due for a correction because, I mean, it spent all this time going lower. And, again, we talked about this last week. The best opportunities right now as these bearish markets go higher is simply wait for buyers to try and sell right into those failures. So what's my plan here for the gold? First of all, we're bearish, no doubt about that. Sellers, easiest money right now is looking for selling opportunities at resistance levels overhead. And by selling opportunities, I'm talking about reversal patterns. I'm talking about failure patterns. I'm talking about wait for the turn and then continuation patterns, right? So 3 different ways that will look for that entry trigger at these areas of resistance overhead. Sellers, you guys are looking for buyer failure at support levels below. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? I mean, as we're coming up off this low, price starts going higher. You know there's going to be like a moving average in here. Everybody likes to watch, right? You know there'll be a couple Fibonacci levels everyone likes to watch, right? So that's what I'm talking about, right? So you want to be a seller in a bearish trend. Wait for it to get up off that low. Wait for it to come back. You know buyers are going to try. And if and when they fail, that's when you're selling right into their failure, right? That's what I mean when I say the second step here, which is sellers are looking short with buyer failure at support levels. And then what if you want to be a buyer? If you want to be a buyer right now, you're looking long with seller failures at support levels, right? Seller failures at support levels. So, and again, you want to be in those oversold conditions. So again, sellers looking for opportunities at resistance. That's where the easiest money is going to be. More short term, you'll look for the buyers to try to buy a pullback and fail, right? That's another opportunity here. And then also too, if you want to be a buyer right now, you wait for, again, I would wait for the oversold conditions. So I'd wait for price to, hit up these lows here, these lows down here. Let's take this more recent one here at 88.3. Here's a good example. We see sellers try to sell into support. Those poor souls. And when they get stopped out, that's your chance to be a buyer. So if you're a buyer right now, wait for price to get down to range lows. Wait for sellers to try to sell at support, right? And then look, of course, for opportunities to buy into their stop losses. Guys, you've got 3 opportunities here right now to be a bear or a bull on the gold. And remember, always wait for the proper entry trigger. We teach all the entry triggers to all of our students. Unfortunately, I can't give you everything here on this newsletter. Come on, see me as a student, and I'll teach you all the entry triggers. Let's keep going. On the euro, boy, this looks exactly like gold. It really should. It's got a negative correlation to the dollar. The dollar, of course, is benefiting from all of the interest rate debacles around the world right now, yada, yada, yada. You've got a newspaper, I'm sure, somewhere on the internet. You can read all about it. They'll tell you exactly what's going on the interwebs right now, but the problem is that doesn't make me money. What makes me money is trading what I see on the chart. So another example here, very similar to what we just saw in gold. As you can see here, we're rotating. And I'll bet many of you thought I was crazy. I'm sure some of you know I'm crazy. But, you got to be a little bit crazy. You got to have a couple screws loose to be a day trader, right? That's the best part. That's the good stuff in life. We're rotating back and forth. We talked about this earlier last week, right? We talked about this what was it? This was back this last Monday. What was that day on that one? This was the 17th here, 10 days ago. I was like, yeah, it wasn't last week, but it was the week before, it was the middle of the week before, we had that sell-off on the euro and that spike right back up. We talked about this. We were expecting it to rotate back to its highs, and look where we are now. Well, unfortunately, though, I don't think the run's over just yet for these bulls. We get an overshoot of this channel low. I am definitely expecting this euro to find a way up into these highs here. It may look like it's going to drop off these highs for a moment, but I would expect, though, unless something crazy happens in the next 24, 48 hours, I would expect here a correction back down, a retest up into this area here. You've got a lot of resistance areas overhead. So I would, if my gut was a strategy, which it's not, I always wait for proof. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if we come down, right? Make all the sellers think this is the big one. We're going all the way back down, and it might, right? There's no reason why we can't. I'll be looking for buyer failures here. You better believe that, to sell all the way back down to those lows. There's a good example of, in a bearish trend, simply waiting for areas of support to be tested and then sell into the buyer's stop losses, right? What is probably going to happen is we'll probably pull back a little bit. That overshoot down there tells me, just like the S&P, I'm looking at UES, probably make one more run for it and then get this price. Think of it this way, as a little double stop run, right? Little double stop run, right? You got buyers in the market, stop them out. You got sellers entering the market, stop them out. And then we'll just go ahead and fake it and bring it right back down. That's probably what the rest of the week's going to entail. But, again, I can speculate all I want. Just like you, I'm going to come in tomorrow. I'm going to look for proof in the chart, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities to make money along the way with that. So all we know right now is we're bearish and we're up around the high of the channel. We have an overshoot at that channel low, which means we do expect this price to push higher. Okay, but here's the big question mark. Oops, sorry about that. The big question mark that I have is when do we get up here, right? How do we get there? That's the variable. How do we get up to that overshoot level overhead? Notice this bull channel, just like we saw in gold. And so that's ultimately what you want to remember. Again, I would expect price to rotate, right? Low to high, high to low, low to high, back down to low, right? Giddy up, and then one last shot back up, complete the overshoot, and then make the move back down. So short term, buyers, you definitely have some opportunities here to be a buyer in the short term right now. Okay, on pullbacks here, just be aware, though, you are going against the long-term trend. So if you're going to trade against the trend right now, make sure you treat it as a scalp until proven otherwise. Let's get the plan straight for tomorrow. Sellers, you guys are looking short at resistance levels overhead. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Now remember, I'm not blindly selling these resistance areas, guys. Wouldn't that be easy, right? No, you don't want that to be that easy, because if you could just sell every resistance level, guys, there wouldn't be any money left in it to make. It wouldn't make this money. It'd be like if everybody was a heart surgeon, right? I'll go next door to Jim's house, right? He can take my heart out, no problem. You wouldn't get paid the big bucks. There has to be a little bit more to it, and that's exactly what the financial markets do. They're not going to make it that easy. So remember, wait for the proper trigger at these resistance levels, okay? I don't know how many more times I'm going to say that. I'm sure I'll still get that nasty comment on YouTube. You can't just sell. You're right. I'm not just selling all these lines to the chart. You caught me. I'm not selling all these lines on the chart, and you'd be crazy to think that I was. Well, I guess unless you were on other YouTube pages. Anyways, bottom line is, sellers, here's where I think you're going to get another shot here, sellers. Again, buyers try, buyers fail, right? These are great opportunities right here. You've got support, 1057, 1035, 10022, 1007, right? These are obvious areas of support below. So look up top here. Sellers looking for short opportunities with buyer failures at support low. What the hell does that mean? It means come back, test 1057. You know buyer is going to jump on it, right? It's a double bottom. I don't care what it is. You're in a bearish trend. Knock, knock. Sell into that buyer failure, right? Come down again. Test the next one. Buyers are going to try. You know they are, right? Sell into that buyer failure. Now, I'm sure there are a few bulls out there that are, whatever, drinking the Kool-Aid, and you think price is going to go higher. Wonderful. So buy that support. If you want to buy that support, just make sure you do it carefully because, again, you are going counter trend, right? So, see, we can all be happy here, but just be aware, buyers, if you take that swing at 1057 and you fail, guys and gals like us on our end are going to be looking to sell right into your stop losses. So when you panic and hit the sell button, right, hit the close button and you market order out of your trades, just be aware that market order is going to put that target right in reach from me. I'm going to get rid of all my risk and hold the next support level. That's how easy it is to make money in these environments. You know where the buyer is going to try, and they might be successful, let's be honest, right? But the odds are not in their favor. They're not, right? The odds are in our favor, the downtrenders, right? The bears right now. Okay, remember, never judge one trade by its result. Give me 100 of those trades. It's called probabilities. There's this little industry out there called the insurance industry, right? It's kind of how the whole thing works. It's long-term probabilities. It's how Vegas was built. Yeah, you might be able to get a winning pull of the wheel in Vegas once or twice, but if you sit at that wheel and you pull it all afternoon long, yeah, you're going to be handing them over your car, your home, your life savings, and everything. Trust me, they didn't build Caesar's Palace on letting people win in those casinos long term. Buyers, okay, what is your opportunity here to be a buyer? I think your best bet for being a buyer right now, buyers are looking long with seller failures at support levels in oversold conditions. What does that mean? That means wait for it to come in. Wait for some sellers to try to sell this support because you know they will. We're bearish. And they're not going to know about that support level there. And then buyers, that's your cue. That's where the easy money is going to be. Okay, now again, you guys can definitely, if you're a bull right now, blindly buy these support levels and you might get a couple winning trades off them. But overall, though, historically speaking, though, the best way to do it is go to support, wait for sellers to try, buy into their failure. Go to support. I would prefer, if you're a buyer right now, wait for it to really drop here, seller failure, and buy into it. Again, the name of the game right now is we have a bearish trend on the euro, selling at resistance, selling into buyer failure. That's where your easy money is going to be on this euro. Haven't heard a thing out of Greece over the past week, huh? It's amazing how just like that, just gone. Right? It's amazing how that happens, right? I know. We should probably focus on the chart instead. Let's keep going. How about the E-mini S&P? You know I couldn't finish out without looking at you, S&P. My gal, I love the S&P right now. What happened to this S&P? Did it all of a sudden, I think, well, you know what it is. The smart money's hanging out in the Mediterranean right now. That's what it is. The smart money is clogging up the 405 freaking freeway right now here in Los Angeles. They're out in their yachts in Marina del Rey here in LA. They're not, of course, trading right now. That's what made this such easy money. This was just incredible. What an incredible example of everything we teach here at School of Trade. We talked about this last week, right? Channel up. No big deal. Overshoot, right? Overshoot, what does that mean? It means the buyers were all in. Remember we talked about this last week, right? So what do you do in an overshoot environment? You wait for buyers to try and fail. Buyers try, fail. Buyers try, fail. Buyers try, fail. This was our plan starting out last week, and it just keeps on working flawlessly. So ultimately, job well done. We've got the collapse. Now, you'll notice we're sitting at major extension support, which means, I hate to break it to you, I think the party's over here for now. I would definitely expect to see a correction back up and then an attempt to make a run for this 2040 area, which is down below that trading range. I told you guys this trading range makes an excellent magnet for price if they can get failing at those lows, and that's exactly what we got here. Guys, we get a lot of the same stuff here on the S&P right now. Sellers, the easy money right now, if you're a bear right now, and I really think you're smart to be a bear right now, but expect a correction. There's going to be profit taking here. Take my profit, you take your profit. Wait for it to pull back. Wait for it to correct off these low, just like I said before on crude. Get it up off this low, and then buyers try, sell it into their stop losses. Failure. Reversal patterns. If you want to wait patiently for it, wait for it to go up, and then once it starts coming back down, sell those rips, wave patterns, right, retracement patterns. It's not a difficult plan at all. The problem is, the hard part is staying patient, right? I'm selling at resistance. Remember to wait for the triggers, though. Remember to wait for those triggers. Reversal pattern, failure pattern, right, buyer failure pattern, or wait for the turn and then sell those rips. Sellers also looking for selling opportunities. We may not even make it back up there tomorrow. So what are we going to do? Again, wait for price to come up off this low. You know there'll be some short-term moving averages here. Wait for it to pull back, trying to go higher. And of course, if and when it fails, you can sell the pullback failure as well, right? So if we don't get up, or if you don't want to wait, wink, wink, I'm looking at you, right? If you don't want to wait for price to get all the way up there, you can look for little nibbles to the downside by waiting for short-term pullbacks that fail and sell into those stop losses. Just be aware, though, the easy money, the best money is going to come. What I would imagine, if I had to guess right now, I would say we make a run for it. We try to fake break, and then we end up to collapse later on. You know, there's going to be some bulls in here trying to buy this as a discounted price right now. How about buyers right now? Well, buyers, here's a really good example. There's two options here as far as I'm concerned. Again, same thing here. Same thing. Nothing's changed here between crude, gold, euro, S&P. It's all the same. Buyers, if you guys want to buy in this downtrend right now, you've got to look long with seller failures at oversold support levels, right? That's going to be the key here. So what if price rises? If price rises here, check out this, what is that, 69.75, right, 2070. Okay, so here's where sellers will try to sell that short-term resistance. Buyers can buy right into it, right? So find areas of short-term resistance, play the sellers against them, right, and buy into their failures because it's very short-term resistance area. The best opportunities, though, would be to see price dig into these lows, right? Go into oversold territory, look for areas where the sellers try twice, and when they fail, you can buy right up off those lows. Guys, the deal is pretty simple here right now. We're bearish across the board. If you want to be a buyer in a bear market, wait for oversold conditions and buy into seller failure. If you're a bear right now, wait for it to get up off these lows and use buyer failures on short-term pullbacks, major resistance overhead, reversal patterns up at range highs and resistance levels. Guys and gals, we'll be trading this tomorrow in real time as well. Boy, oh boy, that was a long newsletter tonight, but Mondays are always like that. We got to get a good plan going for the rest of the week here. Hope you guys had a great session with us today. Hope you enjoyed the nightly newsletter as well. Don't forget, send me some feedback, post a comment, share with a friend, download today's charts, and if I get a few more seconds of your time, I'm sorry this video is going so late here tonight. Don't forget to join the free trial over here at schooloftrade.com. I'll shoot you an invite to our trade room. I'll also send you more information about how we trade here. And don't forget, guys, we've been doing this longer than anybody else on the planet. Trust me. My newsletter is the longest running trading newsletter on the planet. Go back and see for yourself. We always have someone standing by 24/7, 365. Guys, here at School of Trade, we focus on helping people launch a new career. We're not here to gamble. We're not here to get lucky. We're to do this the right way by managing risk and reward properly and being patient and disciplined. I'd love to show you all about it, but I can't do it right now. Join the free trial. I'll see you tomorrow morning in the trade room with our students. If not, back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, wrapping up this month of July. I'll see you guys then. Be well out there. Be nice to each other. My name is Joseph. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.